Let's do one pose with a backward bend. Naturally, the goal of this practice of backward bend is to bring the awareness of the arch, ability to shift the weight of the body, leg to the arms, arms to the legs, eventually learning to do standing drop backs, right? So that's the goal. But it needs preparation, it needs some experience similar to the deep intensity of the arch. So in wheel pose, the approach is a little harder when you lie down and lift up, but it actually brings more stimulation to the back muscles. So that actually gives you the support you need for standing drop back, to keep the chest raised. You need that arch to give space to the spine. Okay, now lie down on the back. Feet and knees apart, shoulders flat. Now first, a regular warm-up approach to the wheel pose can be your bridge pose, right? Setu Pandasana. So let's do the bridge pose first. So feet apart, knees apart, lift your hips higher and see if you are able to get the palms. You see my forearms perpendicular to the floor. So it's not slanting out, slanting in or falling out. You want to try and keep it perpendicular. So you can wriggle your hips left and right to get the arms upright, supporting the sacrum, and straighten the legs. So you actually try to keep the shoulders touching the floor. So you can do this just going in and out 3 times. So wriggle your elbows, shoulders in tight until it is upright, and slowly straighten the legs. Hold. Relax. Usually we use blocks to do that, but here you are going to use the arms to push. Blocks are an initial tool that we use, then later we switch to the palms. Now, second approach to the wheel. Let's go into the 3 steps lifting. Fingers wider, palms flat. Inhale, exhale and hips up. Inhale, exhale and shoulders up. Inhale, exhale and lift your head up. Now, you are trying to look up to the ceiling. Inhale, as we exhale, look down to the floor. See if you can look at your fingertips. Look up to the ceiling. Inhale, exhale, look down to the floor. One last time. Inhale, exhale and look down to the floor. Slowly head down, shoulders down, hips down. So the head and the neck movement actually improves the cervical and the upper thoracic arch of the spine. So you are actually exercising the strength of your neck and the upper back, extending the front of the chest and the neck. Deep breathing. Breathing. The next one, focusing a bit more arch in the chest, right? We might take all the compression on the lower back, but we want to try and use that chest as the major movement that guides the arch, especially if you are going to drop back. The chest opening is very important to land vertically, so you don't land further, so you land closer, right? If you remember in the standing sequence, we did this warm-up. I would like to recap. Inhale, inhale. So this is the wheel we are trying to approach, but in an upside down pose, right? So there we are doing this with the momentum. Here we are doing it with the wheel approach, with the legs pressing the floor. Watch me first. I raise my hips, I raise my shoulders, I lift my head. Now here, the hips don't drop. Engage your glutes, lift your hips up. Activate your glutes, engage your thighs. Walk your legs out 1 step. Inhale, exhale and straighten the legs. Look down to the floor. Inhale, bend. Raise the hips up, straighten the legs. One more time. Inhale, exhale and raise the hips up, straighten the legs. and come down with 3 steps. Head down, shoulders down, hips down. Now this is always the next goal, right? People want to work on consistent progress in their practice. So this can be a couple of steps you can focus on. One is the head and the neck movement. One is the hip and the knee movement. What I just did is just working with deepening the arch of the chest, right? If you remember a long time ago, I also gave you another approach to the wheel. You should also try that one time now. See, I bend my knees. So this will ensure the chest does the most movement. So all of the movement will not go to the lower back. The legs slightly forward. See how my heels are in front of my knees. Usually we are trying to come closer. Here we push it slightly away from the hips. Watch me first. I try to get the chest to lift. Deepen the arch. Deepen the arch. Keep small breaths. And then from here, try to find the distance, feet down. Try and deepen the arch as much as you can. Raise your hips up. And then lift your head up. Then try to straighten the legs. Right? Then slowly come back to the head down, hips down. And then flatten the back. If you are new to this, watch me one more time. My legs are slightly forward, fingers are wide, palms are flat. Right? The more space you give, easier to guide the arch of the chest. So do this. So you don't raise the hips yet. You can even move your feet out if you feel like you need more space. Ready? From here, hips up, then head up, straighten the legs. Open the chest. Then bend the knees, bring the head down, then you have to engage your back, hips down. Release your head. Now you can always quickly come out and do a twist, do a neck stretch, right? Do a wrist movement, right? And do some lateral stretch and twisting to gently neutralize the back, but not forward bend, right? If you happen to repeatedly work on some posture, don't go too extreme to the opposite and try again to an extreme posture again. So do some neutralizing movement. Breathing sometimes can be the best neutralizing technique. Just take a few breaths, rest your body to recoup that energy and try again, right? Lateral stretches are really good as a neutralizing movement for back bends, right? You can also do individual shoulder movements, right? For wheel pose, if you happen to feel a pinch, feeling a bit tingly, numb, just do this as a counter pose. So these are okay, right? So these are still a good neutralizing movement, a gently move in and out. Or you can even do this, right? Okay. The next couple of variations are optional, right? Do it if you can. If your back is feeling very tired, you can skip it, leave it for another class, right? So in wheel pose, there is a technique to move your weight towards the arms, towards the legs, and that technique needs to be mastered before actually doing standing drop back. You need to be first aware where is the weight or where mostly the weight is sitting, and you should be able to have the control of shifting the weight, because that's what you need for dropping back and coming back up, right? Dropping back means the weight from the legs gently gets shifted to the arms. Coming back up means weight from the arms gently gets shifted back to the legs. Ready? I'm going to show you I'm not doing dropping back yet. So let me show you how to practice the weight shift. See, palms down, hips up, shoulders up, head up. So now my weight, I actually feel almost in the center, right? Then what I try to do is I gently shift the weight to the arms. So you see, my legs are pushing my weight towards the arms, and I raise the heels to get the hips to be the maximum height and walk in, but most of my weight stays on my palms, right? So you don't over flex your shoulders, right? So you have to keep the shoulders above the wrist and walk out, come down. So when the legs are walking, your heels can be raised. And then the opposite, right? Your hips go up, shift your weight to the legs. You see how my knees are slightly bending, and then the arms get to walk towards the legs. And then slide it back out. I'm going to show you again. Raise the heels, shift the weight back to the arms, and then walk in. When you walk in, don't hyperflex your shoulders. Walk out. Then I shift the weight back to the legs, walk with my hands. Push. Walk out, slowly down. So naturally the distance is what to some extent judges whether you're ready to drop back, and to some extent ready to come back, right? Which means standing back up. If the distance between the legs and arms are further, if there is no perpendicular position to the arms, you might be able to drop, but coming up may be a bit clumsy, or sometimes you might fall back and hit your head on the floor. Whereas a pose like this against gravity is a really good practice to prevent injuries. So let me just demonstrate the standing drop back and refer these two techniques, how I move the weight from the legs to the arms back to the legs, and then in another class we can actually work on those techniques, right? But don't try this yet. Ready? So see, my legs are wider. It can be slightly wider than the hip, right? You don't have to always put it in line with the hips in the beginning, later. Then I lift my chest. Remember this movement when we did? Like this, right? So in dropbacks, there are many approaches. Arms going sideways, arms going up, landing with the knees bent as you drop. Many approaches. But let me just show you the approach as we did the warm-up form, right? So I fold forward, then I raise my arms, I exhale, get the best of the arch in my chest. Inhale. As I exhale, I try to deepen the arch, Slowly land on the arms. Now when I land, I did this. That means the weight gets transferred to my arms. But I feel weight on my hands, so I can't come up yet. For me to come up, I shift the weight to the legs, I engage my thighs, back muscles, right? It may be a very small movement, but that movement plays a vital role in the ability to carry the weight back up with control, right? One more time, please watch me. I exhale, arch the chest, breathe in. As I breathe out, extend the arms, right? Then I shift the weight back to the legs. Right? So to some extent, how much you arch your chest plays a major role how close you land, right? Of course, the posterior tilt of the pelvis, not tensing the abdomen as you begin to fall back. So there are a few things we have to focus on. In another class, we will work on it. Let's sit on the floor. Cross-legged, exhale and twist right side, exhale, twist left side. Don't go yet, please finish the sequence, right? It's really bad when you just leave your practice halfway without doing neutralizing movements, counter pulse, right? There are injuries which happens immediately, or some injuries are long-term. Imbalanced practice of doing certain practice without counter postures can lead to a long-term deeper injuries to the body. Hope you're all watching the videos and practicing it regularly. Make sure you don't sit on a couch or lie on the bed and watch these videos. Please take your mat, lay it down, and start your practice and follow these videos as you practice. I will surely upload more videos that will enhance your yoga journey. Please come back and check out for the latest videos. Namaste.